Welcome in. It's another edition of Speed Chronicles. Happens every Wednesday here on the RevTV YouTube channel. Thanks for checking it out. I'm Todd Lewis at Todd Lewis Sports at RevTV. The social platforms to follow us on X, Instagram. Those are the handles. If you've got thoughts, ideas, questions, comments, suggestions, we'll let this run a few more weeks as the season comes to an end. Probably take a little break over the holiday season. Yeah, I know. Already thinking about that because, you get Halloween coming up and it will be full speed into holidays. I'm a big fan of the U.S. Thanksgiving holiday, and then you're right into like all the other holiday seasons, and then it's 2025, and then we're talking about a new season. Well, we'll probably get into that long before. Anyhow, we still got a little bit of racing left to go in the 2024 season, and we've seen some great action, some great fun events, some things to look at and consider and discuss, and also maybe some things to be concerned about going forward. We'll kind of get into a few of those items here. Let's get into Formula One, first of all, because I'm really enjoying the way this championship has started to go in the last, I guess, since the return after the summer break. It's evolved into real championship fights, especially in the Constructors' Championship, of course. That's the one that pays all the money. The glamour one is the Drivers' Championship, and the driver gets all the accolades. But the one that pays the money to the teams is the Constructors' Championship. And that is a full-on three-way fight now between McLaren, Ferrari, and Red Bull, which has dropped to third in the Constructors' Championship. Ooh la la. Max still leads the Drivers' Championship and has certainly pointed in the right direction to win another one, but it's a fight, and it's going to continue to be a fight all the way down to the end, which is exactly what we want to see. When you go back to the beginning of the year and he reeled off win after win after win, you thought, oh, here we go. He's driving with one hand on the wheel and just his arm up on the side, just taking it easy. Not so much anymore. Good for the other teams for continuing development. Ferrari, McLaren have taken the fight to Red Bull, and we've had great championship fights. So super fun. We've got it in both the Constructors and the Drivers' Championship, as I mentioned. The Drivers' Championship tightened up a little bit after Mexico. It's got to tighten up a little bit more this weekend to really have a chance. But what a great crowd in Mexico. Better than 400,000 in attendance. Among them, Pato O'Ward from the IndyCar series. He's going to demo an IndyCar ride during the Formula E Championship in Mexico coming up in January. Oh, wait a minute. So there's Formula E, Formula One, and now NASCAR headed to Mexico City even before IndyCar? Pato who? Yeah, okay. Anyhow, let's not get into too much of that right now. But a great event. Lando and Max battling head-to-head once again. If you like Lando, you think he's in the right. If you think like Max, you think he's in the right. Could there and should there perhaps be a little more explanation and specifics in terms of what is and what isn't allowed? Yes, I think in terms of passing and the rules and protocol, that could and should be addressed. A little more clarification would certainly be in order here. Right now, though, Max is driving within the rules. Yes, he got penalized in Mexico City a couple of times, but those were pretty basic penalties for going off course, gaining position. Yeah, those are going to be penalties. But is there a little more clarification in the rules? That would be a good idea. Yes, it probably would be. And something that I've talked about with the National Hockey League, because I've done some projects there, and something that Formula One and other racing series, quite frankly, could get involved in, is once you do clarify and provide information specifically about what is and isn't allowed in terms of track limits, passing, and all the rest of it, how about some video to illustrate these rules? They'll use it for drivers to help them demonstrate and help them understand. How about for fans? A little video on the website. Some of the websites have got miles and miles of video. Some of it's really good. Some of it's really crappy. How about some of this to understand the rules and how they are implemented for your fans? If your fans can't understand what the rules are, it makes it harder for them to embrace the series. So maybe this is a way to do it. Not just having one official give the official position on their weekly satellite radio hit. Let's have some video to demonstrate what exactly the rules are, what is, what isn't allowed. But again, great event, fantastic. Drivers and Constructors Championships both up for grabs. Carlos Sainz, what a drive for Ferrari. It's when Ferrari does well, Formula One does well. So it's good for him. Checo Perez, I'm really feeling for. He is just spiraling down the drain. It's kind of sad, actually, to watch how far he's fallen. I don't know if he's cracking under the pressure. He's feeling the pressure. And I don't think everyone performs at their best when they are feeling pressure. Some people do. Whatever your vocation, whether it's racing or anything else, some people need and thrive under pressure. Some prefer to be cuddled and loved a lot more than others. It sure seems like Checo Perez is crumbling under the pressure. He's on the hot seat. Is it going to cost him his seat? Likely. I don't know how soon, but it's really kind of sad and disappointing because it looked for a while like he was the right teammate for Max, but I think that window has started to close. Another event from this past weekend that I was super excited to watch and looking forward to was the first ever MX-5 Cup Series race at Martinsville. First one on an oval. They had tested there a while ago. They announced that the event was going to happen, had a big payday for the winner, and it was great. A lot of people were very excited to see this happen. I was as much curious as I was excited about it. 18 cars, which was decent for this size venue, and I almost think you don't want too many the first time you do it. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10 for an event. I love the close competition of MX-5 Cup. I've talked about it before. Whenever I go to a race weekend and MX-5 Cup is running, always check when the times are. I want to see those races. It's super tight, close racing. It's fun. It's great. You have to bump draft to get ahead, and that was the same on the oval as well because they were doing it on the backstretch in particular. So everybody did a pretty nice job with this first event. First time out, it's feel your way through a little bit. You kind of know what you expect to happen, and things don't necessarily always go as they are supposed to. Is that a $10 fine for me for not silencing my phone? Anyhow, things don't always go the way they're supposed to, but this one was okay. It was fine. It was a good demonstration. A couple things that I would look at adjusting for next year, because I do expect it to come back again. It hasn't been announced, but I do expect it'll happen again. I didn't necessarily feel they needed the NASCAR kind of rules. I don't think it needed to be a stage race. I don't think you needed to have the break halfway through. There was a caution after 50 laps. You couldn't put fuel in. You couldn't change tires, but they had a caution period, and everybody came to pit road, and they gave them 5 minutes to look at the cars and make minor adjustments, I guess. I don't think that's necessary. Can't add fuel, can't add tires. You don't need a break. If you want to have a competition caution to close things up, okay, but don't let the cars pit. Well, pit if you want to, but you don't get to keep your space. I also didn't think it was necessary to have the NASCAR style choose rule. It's not part of their other events. If there's a caution, great. Line up in your position, double file, we'll wave the green and get going again. I think these are things that they can change and adjust for next year. Normally they're timed races. This one, it was a 100 lap count. I'm fine with that if for whatever reason you want, but run right through. Run them 75 laps if you need to, straight up. I don't think that's a problem. It went a little long, a little over an hour from start to finish. I think you could shorten it up just a little bit, fit into a 1 hour window. I think it was great. First event though, decent job, looked good. They're fun cars to watch, and I can't imagine how nice they are to drive. NASCAR was at Homestead. How about that for a race finish? No green-white checker, extended in to create fake overtime drama. 3 or 4 drivers just hustling for all they're worth to the end. It was a terrific finish to the race. How do you feel about Homestead no longer being the final race of the season? The great racing that you have there, drivers like that track. It's a real challenge to run up against the wall because of the pavement. I don't know. Does it promote better racing than Phoenix does? I guess we'll see in a couple of weeks when NASCAR gets there for the end. One other note from Homestead this past weekend involves the Truck Series. Matt Mills and Connor Jones were involved in an incident, we'll say. At the end of it, Jones absolutely blasted Mills in the back, wrecked him, and then went on a profanity-filled tirade on the radio afterwards. They broadcast this with the beeps, of course, and there were an awful lot of them. NASCAR, of course, has heard this. Jones was parked for 2 laps for deliberately wrecking Mills. He was sent to the hospital for observations afterwards. The good news, observed, released, he's been cleared, and he will race this weekend at Martinsville, as NASCAR is at Martinsville this weekend. NASCAR parked Jones for 2 laps. They should have parked him for the rest of the race. They have since now penalized him with a 1-race suspension, and good for them. As I said, he should have absolutely been parked for driving him into the wall. There is zero tolerance for that, or there absolutely should be. You cannot allow this sort of thing to go on. I've got no issue at all with NASCAR throwing the book at him. If you're racing, you're going to have contact. You understand that. And sometimes you're even going to initiate that contact. I get that too. But you simply cannot use your vehicle as a weapon, as was the case here. 1-race suspension absolutely warranted. Okay, so coming up this weekend, we got F1 with bang, 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 3 races in a row in quick succession after that other break. NASCAR's at Martinsville, as I mentioned, and it's the final weekend of racing action for FR Americas and F3 and Trans Am Series as well. They are at Circuit of the Americas this weekend. So still some good racing action as we're at the end of October. We'll be into November this weekend. Couple more weeks to go, and then that's going to be it for 24, and then we'll be counting down the days to 2025. Thanks for checking out this week's edition of Speed Chronicles. Don't forget, at Todd Lewis Sports, at revtv for thoughts on the social channels X and Instagram. We'll do it again next Wednesday.